guys a chance to get out. And a pleasant good afternoon and welcome to Bullmore AMF Lanes in Kenner, Louisiana, as we venture into a new sport as part of our good and great friends at First NBC Bank helping to present prep bowling. As this afternoon the defending state champion Brother Martin Crusaders take on the Archbishop Shaw Eagles. And a pleasant good afternoon to you. Ken Trahan joined by the lefty, Lenny Van Gilder. Bottom line is if you're going to do bowling, you've got to balance it in more ways than one. You got to have somebody coming from the right side and somebody coming from the wrong side. You can figure out that I come from the right side, so that leaves Lenny as the left-hander. Lenny, it's always good to be with you. And, of course, a nice matchup this afternoon. Perhaps, and I stress perhaps, the two best boys teams in the metropolitan New Orleans area when it comes to prep bowling. And Brother Martin and Archbishop Shaw.
Yeah, both of these teams have started the season 2-0, Ken, and it's, it's early. I mean, we've got still, a month and a half or so to go in the regular season before we get to the postseason. But early on, these two teams have seemed to separate themselves, and the two things that they've really got going for them is one, of course, is just a skill level, but secondly, it's the experience. You've got two teams that return all but two bowlers from a year ago. One senior on each team last year. Now, they were very important parts of that team, but still, to have that much experience returning plays a big part. And you mentioned Brother Martin, state champions a year ago. They went undefeated, 17-0. It was interesting in the playoffs. One of the toughest matches they faced all year was against Shaw. It was in the bi-regional. Their second of 5 wins, 8 after 2 games. And, Brother Martin pulled away in Game 3, won that match 16.5 to 10.5. And I guess before we go any further, if prep bowling is new to you, first of all, welcome. But secondly, we should explain how the format of this works.
I was going to bring that up next.
Yeah, 27 points are at stake in every high school bowling match in Louisiana. As you'll see you see the bowlers warming up across 4 lanes. When we get started, there will be 3 bowlers from each school bowling on each pair of lanes. 3 for each school to the left 2 lanes, and 3 from each school to the right 2 lanes. You are bowling a head-to-head match with the person across from you in a seated lineup that's determined by average. And the highest average bowler for each team will face off. The second highest average bowler for each team will face off, and so on up the line. The 3 highest average bowlers will be bowling on the pair of lanes 43 and 44 that are to your right. Each one of those individual matches is worth 1 point. That covers 6 of your points in a given game. The team total pinfall determines 2 additional points. So that is 8 points at stake in every game. That's 8 in Game 1, Game 2, Game 3. This is a 3-game match. And then what is commonly referred to as the super total, or total pins across all three of these games, will determine 3 more points. and 27 points at stake.
So the magic number is 14.
Exactly. You need to get to 14, and Brother Martin has had that number by game 2 the first 2 times out. They have won their first 2 matches, defeating St. Paul 26-1, defeating St. Augustine 27-0 in their first 2 matches, both at their home center of Colonial Bowling Lanes in Harahan. Today, this is Shaw's home match. Shaw bowls their home matches here at Bullmore AMF, and in fact, at the same time as we're watching this match, there are 6 other boys and girls matches from the New Orleans area going on to our left and to our right. So a lot of activity going on as we speak, but obviously the focus of our coverage and the focus today, as we can see by the crowd behind us, is on this match between the 2 unbeatens on the boys' side.
And just to give everybody some perspective, if you have an opportunity to get out to prep bowling, you want to do so each and every Monday and Thursday, and there's always something going here at Bullmore AMF Lanes in Kenner. Brother Martin bowls its home matches at Colonial Lanes, so they'll be there fairly frequently. And in addition to that, you can go to Slidell to Bowling USA for some matches that occur there for home teams that are from the Slidell area and Chalmette too. So
right, it's no different than any other sport in that you have your home venue where when you are the home team, you bowl your matches. It just so happens that we only have, at least on the South Shore here right now, we only have a couple of centers, so Colonial and AMF attract most of the action, and really AMF attracts the large propensity of the action. Not uncommon what you see here this afternoon with 7 matches going on between boys and girls all at one time.
Looking at the matchup here this afternoon, a little question that Brother Martin would be the favorite going into this matchup because they have so much depth on their team. In fact, they have 2 bowlers who are both freshmen who average over 200 who are not starting because they have such great experience on this team, including the defending state champion in R.J. Beecher, who won the individual state title a year ago with a 684 series. And yet he's off to a little bit of a slow start, averaging just 186 thus far this year. But in addition to that, they have a senior in Chad Knackery, who will bowl the leadoff spot here for the Crusaders in Game 1. And they have a couple of bowlers that have been outstanding thus far. Jonathan Fernandez, part of a legacy at Brother Martin, who's averaging 225 thus far this year. He's had a 719 series most recently. And Kyle Schneider, a returning starter and senior, who's averaging at 220. When you talk about the Shaw Eagles, Dylan Chesterman, a returning starter from a year ago as a junior, and he's averaging 205. Cadence Chesterman, keeping it all in the family, as a sophomore, averaging 191. They would be the top options, but Matthew Collins, an experienced player coming back from a year ago, is averaging 189. So as a result, the matchup is pretty good. And it's also good to see the people that are involved in the sport. Each school has a moderator for the sport of bowling. Many of the schools have coaches as well, and these two certainly fold right into that because Brother Martin has Bruce Himbert, who's been a regional PBA member and runs a pro shop here in the New Orleans area at Colonial Lanes and is obviously an accomplished bowler who can teach the game. And Denise Vidros, the head coach at Archbishop Shaw, the consummate bowling family. Her and Gerald Vidros have done that all their lives, and their son, Scott, was one of the top players in the state a year ago for Archbishop Shaw. And that's typically the way bowling is. It really is a legacy sport, isn't it?
It really is. And, I mean, that's how you and I got to be part of this is, you know, it's something you came up with in your family. I was fortunate to have, you know, 2 parents that bowled and learned a lot from it. I know you came up through the junior ranks as well. Had a chance, you know, to bowl on the high school level, but unfortunately when we were on the high school level, it was not an LHSAA sport at that point. It is only a 10-year-old sport in terms of the LHSAA sponsoring it as a interscholastic sport. So you didn't have a lot of state championships. Back when you and I were bowling, we competed for city championships. I was fortunate to win a city championship in 1982. And you know, it's different now. And now you've got this format, which some would have some qualms with it, but I think all in all it makes for, you know, a good, consistent format that rewards the individuals, rewards the teams for what it is that they do.
I like the format because, as you mentioned, it encompasses both aspects. I love match play, first and foremost, but The team score is also rewarded via total pins for each and every game, and then, of course, for the overall series. So I think it's an outstanding format. And there's nothing like the match play when you go down to the ninth frame and a match is still up for grabs. You got maybe 2 or 3 or even 4 matches in each pit that are still up for grabs. I shouldn't say 4, but up to 3 in each pit that are up for grabs, and obviously makes the last couple of frames monumental. So it's a lot of fun. Here at Bullmore AMF Lanes in Kenner, the biggest bowling center in the metropolitan area, really and beyond, 64-lane center that came to the New Orleans area in 1982 and has been here since, and they've done a very good job in refurbishing this facility over an extended period of time. And of course, you and I both bowled here for many years, myself in both mixed leagues and men's leagues, and we appreciate the folks here at Bullmore AMF Lanes for making it possible for us to be here this afternoon. And as we continue to venture into every sport on the prep level via First NBC Bank, and again, our deep appreciation for their support of prep sports in the New Orleans area. Now, the game itself has changed radically for those that don't pay great attention to bowling over the years, and it's pretty interesting because just over the weekend, watching the Pro Bowlers Tour in Japan, Amleto Monticelli, at 54 years old, won a PBA event, a major event in Japan, which is a tremendous accomplishment for a man his age. Only 8 people have ever won PBA tournaments at 50 years or older, and it was his 20th win. He's already a Hall of Famer, but I say that to say this. He was using very old equipment by today's standards because he found a ball that could handle the surface that they were bowling on. Most of the surfaces are synthetic surfaces today, but there are still wooden surfaces. That's what he bowled on yesterday, and while others were struggling to find a ball that would not grip too soon, he found one that fit perfectly. But it's really changed the dynamic of the game. The equipment revolutionized since even 10 years ago, much less 20, and the surface of the lanes and oil patterns have changed dramatically as well.
You've seen that's part of it, and I think the other thing that while you and I, being traditionalists, aren't necessarily fond of, but has been a significant change in the game as well, is the advent of the two-handed bowler. We've seen it on the Pro Tour, most notably with Jason Belmonte, and that is something that people like seeing other people throw strikes, and he's got the ability to generate incredible power. With
he's the best bowler in the world.
He's the best bowler in the world, no doubt. And what he's doing is being copied. It's not like anything else. When the Fab Five at Michigan started wearing the baggy shorts, all the basketball teams started wanting to wear baggy shorts. So it's when people have success and they're doing something a little bit different than everyone else, then that's when you see it copied, and we'll see a little bit of that in play here today.
Just to give you the positions of the bowlers for Archbishop Shaw, Chris Hepting will be in the 1 position, Teddy Johansson in the 2 spot, Dylan DeRoche in the 3rd spot, Matthew Collins will bowl 4th, Cadence Chesterman is the number 5 bowler, and the anchorman is Dylan Chesterman. And for Brother Martin in the 1 spot, it's Chad Nackery, R.J. Beecher will bowl 2nd, Brandon Oquan in the 3rd spot. Number 4 is Max Ertling in the 5 spot, and for Brother Martin is Jonathan Fernandez. The 1, 2, and 3s will bowl to our left on lanes 41 and 42, and the 4, 5, and 6 seeds, who are the higher average bowlers, will bowl on lanes 43 and 44. Shaw will be in their traditional green tops, big, bold eagles emblazoned across the back, and Brother Martin is in their new gold and strange red look here this afternoon. I'm having fun with them. I can't get over it. I'm having fun with Bruce Himbert, my friend. And they've got Crusaders on the back. The Brother Martin Crusaders are the defending state champions in bowling, and the New Orleans area has fared very well in recent years. Going back to 2011, Rummel was a state finalist. Then they won the state championship in 2012 and 2013. And as mentioned, Brother Martin won it in 2000, and he leaves the 3-6. So both of them with similar spare opportunities. The Shaw bowlers getting it started. First up on the right, just releasing for Shaw, is the 4-hole bowler Max Ertling, and he's a little bit light as well. And for Shaw, bowling on lane 42 and throwing a strike on a Brooklyn shot is their number 1 bowler, Chris Hepting. So off to a good start. We're not going to call play-by-play for everybody bowling, but we want to set the scene for those that are bowling for the first time so you know who they are. Spirit converted here for Brother Martin by their 4-hole bowler, Max Ertling. And, of course, it's a strike game with the equipment in the lanes today, but like they say in football, offense sells tickets, defense wins championships. In bowling, strikes will sell tickets, but making spares will win you championships.
You got to make spares, and I know it's one of the things that Bruce Himbert constantly emphasizes with his team, and it's a reason that they excel like they do, is they really emphasize the spare game.
This is R.J. Beecher, defending state champion, striking here for Brother Martin. As mentioned, off to a little bit of a slow start very early on in the season, but he's awfully good. The 10-pin here will get our first open frame on lane 42 for Archbishop Shaw. So watch the boxes filled, as that one was not filled by Dylan DeRoche. So anytime you see an open frame, you'll see an opponent likely jump on it and therefore maybe take an early lead in this. Again, each particular bowler is bowling match play against his opponent, as there's a nice strike thrown by Jonathan Fernandez. Really like his game. Very impressive as a freshman a year ago for Brother Martin. So taking a look at the first frame through thus far, Brother Martin has filled every box. They've thrown 4 strikes and 2 spares, and that's to be expected.
Good start, and for Shaw, the one open. So it's early, and it's these games have a tendency to be marathons rather than sprints. But you can't let your opponent get away from you as well, and it's important, like you mentioned, when you get the opportunity from your opponent, you want to capitalize on it.
We're looking at corner pins on 3 consecutive lanes, 42 through 44. These are always the spares to watch that are more difficult for players to convert, as we see that miss immediately. Part of it's mental, Lenny, and part of it's the angle. And nowadays, most people switch to much more resistant surface balls and harder balls, in some cases old plastic balls, to be able to shoot these spares cross lane. And we're seeing the effects of what I spoke of. 2 misses on corner pins, and there's a make.
Yeah. And it's those are the types of things that will come back and bite you, especially when you get later in the game. It's you got a tight game late. You've got to be able to convert those spares. You're not always going to carries. We see another corner pin, the 10-pin, left by Beecher on lane 42.
Beecher coming up behind the headpin there, a little bit late on the finish to leave what's called a flat 10 there, as compared to a hard 10. There's a beautiful stroke and strike for Brother Martin by their 5-hole bowler, Kyle Schneider. Left the 10-pin in the first and now gets all 10. And here's the 2-hand approach that Lenny spoke of earlier. You can see the power that you can generate with 2 hands. That's Cadence Chesterman, and he's got a double to start things.
Yeah, and it's common sense, I guess, is that if you're using 2 hands to put rotation on the ball, you can do more than if you just use 1 hand. Although it is a style that really challenges your timing.
Good job by Beecher on the conversion of the 10-pin, and if you had a chance to watch it, flattened his hand position at the right angle and squared it up beautifully. And here's a 4-pin. You don't see that very frequently on a light hit, but happens here. And the spare conversion not close here. And again, we've seen a lot of corner pins missed early on.
It is. And look, I imagine that these guys realize it's big. We're here live streaming this match. I'm sure there are, for a lot of these guys, this is the first time that's been cameras rolling when they're bowling, and it's, there's probably a little bit of nerves early on.
Good stroke by Brandon Oquan. He's off to a good start with the double for Brother Martin early on. And here's another lefty stroke, which Lenny deeply appreciates, as Chad Nackery puts up a strike. What is it with left-handers? Either they have a much easier line, or they all look good, right?
Well, here's the thing to remember with left-handed bowlers. Now, there is, for those of you who are new to the sport or haven't watched much of it, there is oil conditioner on the lanes. Well, when you have 11 people bowling right-handed and 1 person bowling left-handed, as we're looking at right now, the right-handed bowlers are all working to the right-hand side of the lane, and the left-handed bowler is out there by himself, generally on the left-hand side of the lane. The oil is not going to dry up as much when he is out there bowling by himself and no one else is on that side of the lane. So the shot holds up much more.
R.J. Beecher just left the modern-day tap. Right-hander leaving a stone 9-pin, flush in the pocket to win it again in the state this year, based on what I've talked to other people about around the state.
And you would think so, but again, it's all about performing time in and time out. They did it last year, 17-0, and we've got arrows, so
ready to go. Here we go as we're underway. Max Ertling throws the first ball for Brother Martin on 43, and he leaves the 2 perspective on who might have the early lead here for each of the teams. A little bit light in the pocket here is Dylan Chester in for the Eagles, and the same holds true for Brother Martin on lane 41, as coming up just a little bit light for the Crusaders on his shot was their 3rd-hole bowler, who is Brandon Oquan. He had started off with a double. And nice job of using the lane and using the oil pattern. Dry to oily cross lane for the spare. Well done. And Kyle Schneider showing a nice spare conversion there. Double wood is always a tough spare to make.
It is, and look, right now, like you said, you guys, this is a big match. This is as big a match as these guys will probably bowl in the regular season until you get, to the knockout round, if you will, where you're bowling a match and it's win or go home, which we get to later in March.
A little bit behind the head pin, finishing slightly late on that delivery for the Shaw Eagles. It was Chris Hepting. Actually, that's not Chris Hepting. That is their third hole bowler on lane 42. We get to the fourth frame here. Once we finish this frame, we'll set the matches for you and tell you where this one is at. On the automatic scores here, they have total pins at the bottom of each frame for you, which we can see, but we'll be able to fill you in on what transpires here and where these matches are individually.
You're seeing the bottom of the automatic scores on our wide shot there as we show you all 4 lanes at once.
Mm-hmm. So we're moving into the fourth frame for both teams, and so far the player to watch has been Cadence Chesterman for Shaw with a 3-bagger to get things started. The one player that's got a clean sheet to this point with all X's across. Although we've seen some players that have been in the pocket consistently. Beecher's hit the pocket all 3 times for Brother Martin. Throwing the ball well, as we might expect. Now we look at lane 44, and Brother Martin's fifth hole bowler, Kyle Schneider, is very smooth. Just an outstanding delivery, and he strikes and keeps himself as close as possible to Chesterman. Nice conversion. Second time that we've had a 10-pin conversion there by this bowler for Shaw, who's done a very nice job early on in the match, and that is their 4-hole bowler, Matthew Collins.
And look, that's a balanced Shaw lineup too. Collins was bowling in the anchor position in the last match, but the Chesterman cousins went out and bowled very well and kind of moved their way up the ladder.
Here's Chesterman looking for a 4-bagger, and he smashes it. Beautifully done. He's in on the lane, Lenny, and he's playing the oil to be able to get the ball to extend down the lane about 40 feet or so before. And there's a strike, of course, for Dylan Chesterman, the anchor bowler for Shaw. So as we look at these matches through 4 frames, as we scan across on the first pair on 41 and 42 to this point, we've got a tie in the first spot. Shaw's up in the second spot, and Brother Martin's up in the third spot. So that pit is even. And over here on the 43 and 44 with the higher average bowlers, we have Shaw by 1 pin. Shaw's up in the second match, and Shaw's up in the third. So the Eagles early on up in 4 matches. Brother Martin in 1 and 1 tie. Yeah, so that would be a little bit of a surprise early on.
And it could swing in a hurry. It's like you said, you've got one match that's tied. You got another match that's 1 pin at this point. And a break there with that carry, and that actually gives Brother Martin the lead in the 4 position right now. Is a strike for Max Ertling. That is now 3 in a row for him and gives him a 9-pin lead.
Now a 5-bagger as Cadence Chesterman likes the camera. He's putting on a show thus far for the Shaw Eagles.
We're not giving away $10,000 for 300 on SportsNoah.com, are we? Just making sure that
we're certainly not.
Okay, just making sure of that. I didn't account for that in the budget, so
it's all good. So again, just to give you some perspective, Cadence Chesterman with a 5-bagger to get things started. And for those that don't know bowling very well, it takes 12 strikes to bowl a perfect game. Shaw starting to miss some spares, in this case a 5-pin over on 42. And those are the ones that are going to catch up with you ultimately. Hepting could not convert, and he's lost his. Dylan Chesterman strikes and maintains the lead in his match for Shaw. So right now the second pit for Shaw is looking pretty good. The first pit for Brother Martin's looking pretty good.
And you would certainly expect that for Brother Martin. This is where Brother Martin will wear you down. Is just their sheer depth, and that their 1, 2, and 3 bowlers can compete with most teams 4, 5, and 6.
Now Teddy Johansson, who's only a 158 bowlers on a 205 clip, whether he just threw a swishing strike in the 5th frame for Shaw in the 2 spot. And if Shaw's going to have a chance to win, that's what it's going to have to take, is a couple of guys being above their averages to have an.
Certainly, and look, bowling enough, you bowl better when you're bowling against better competition. It's that sense, and it's like that in any sport. We talk about bowling, but it's like that in a lot of sports.
Max Ertling very low to the foul line and a very nice release. Can't hear the ball as he sets it down, and beautifully done.
Yep, 4 in a row now after that open in the second frame. So he's working at a 218 pace right now and has a 19-pin lead in the 4 slot.
And without getting into names, total pin's important, but you have one bowler with a 40 in the 5th frame at this point for the Eagles, and that's going to hurt, because when you you lose a match is one thing, but when you get beat by 80 to 100 pins, that is very Shaw by Caden Chesterman on lane 43.
And, keep this in mind as well. This is young in the season. It's 6 games in. If we were bowling in a league right now, you'd still be bowling with averages from a year ago. They wouldn't start taking new averages until 9 games. But in this competition, your lineup is set based on and has built up a pretty substantial lead as a result.
Yeah, still in it with Schneider's ability to strike, and you just got to fill the boxes and wait for the mistake, and then have an opportunity to pounce on it if and when it comes. Fill the boxes first, make the spare, and he does without a problem. And Brother Martin shooting spares pretty well right now. Nice conversion as well on 42 for the Crusaders.
Good line that he's playing from right now. And again, you got to be ready to adjust. That'll come later in the match.
Beecher with a trip strike there as he tripped the bucket basically on a light hit coming in late, but tells you he's got a lot on the ball, finishing nicely there to be able to pick up a story. Again, the difference looking right now is the ability of Brother Martin to make spares and Shaw's inability to make some spares in this first game. That's starting to add up on both pairs of lanes as things start to sort out a little bit as we're approaching the 7th frame. We'll get a much better idea. Anytime you get to the 8th, you got a pretty good idea of where you're at. Yeah. We're going to get another open frame here for Shaw, it would appear. So,
and it's a 3-3 match individually right now, and it's those total pins that are going to swing it, and it's about a 25 pin edge right now for Brother Martin in total as we sit.
Right, I was going to say 35, but 25 looks about right. And the differential for Shaw right now, they can try to ride that horse to make up as many pins as possible with 6 in a row. If he can continue to strike, then certainly that would be the case, because that's the total pins that you'd make up on perhaps one other bowler struggling on the other pair as we speak.
And now Chesterman will be back up on lane 44. That's the lane to your right in our shot with the first 6.
A little bit high there, coming up short with that arm swing was Max Erling. Set it down a little bit early, and now here's Chesterman looking for number 7. And he's yanked it again. And got it.
Wow.
Unbelievable. He's got 7 in a row. He didn't even watch it because he felt like he threw it so poorly. And he got a messenger to take out the 5 pin.
Yeah.
They're going to have to adjust the scoreboard, which registered 9. But that was a strike. I hope they realize that. I believe they do.
They're one of the coaches in there fixing it now, and they'll make the adjustments. We are, again, working with automatic scores here, so every once in a while they do make mistakes. They read the pin rack at a certain time, right as the sweeper is about to come down. And
if you want to focus on one match here, maybe it's the number 2 position for these two teams, where you would think R.J. Beecher would have a big edge as the defending state champion, but right now he's in a heck of a battle with Teddy Johansson. That would be the closest match of the 6 we have going, and a slight edge to Johansson as we speak, who had an open frame after missing a 10 pin his last trip, and he just struck beautifully. Meanwhile, another strike for Shaw by their anchor bowler Dillard Chesterman. So the Eagles are hanging tough here in game 1.
They are, and that's what you want to do. And again, when we mentioned when these two teams bowled in the playoffs a year ago, it was 8-8 after the second game, so they know how to hang tight with these Crusaders. The regular season match was a much different case. Brother Martin, it was at Colonial a year ago, beat them 24-3.
Beecher couldn't quite get the conversion. And here's a nice strike thrown. And again, very good release by Max Erling. That time he got the ball a little bit out over the foul line and was able to get it to track later rather than earlier. And here's a nice strike thrown by the Eagles, who continue to hang tough as we've reached the 8th frame of this particular game, game 1 of this 3-game match. Matthew Collins striking for Shaw. He's well behind Erling, but again, total pins hanging tough. Nice pitch for Brother Martin on lane 41 as they continue to really be in control in 2 of the 3 matches in that pit, and a solid 10 pin. Can't throw the ball much better than that. A very nice delivery by Kyle Schneider. And here is Chesterman looking for number 8 and too high. So that will end the perfect game, and he'll get a nice round of applause from the people watching here. His last 3 shots have been high after he was really wired up until that point.
Right, and sometimes you do you start to feel we've all been there. You and I have been there. Okay, it's you get late in the game after you've strung a few, and you start to want to take the ball a little bit left sometimes.
Well, you can see that chop coming. The separation between the 3-pin and the 6-pin was substantial in the way it was spotted. And bad break for Chesterman. He chops the 3 off for his first open frame, maintains a 49-pin lead, but that will kind of subdue the Shaw edge that they had there for total pins to try to get closer to Brother Martin. And here's a nice release and a nice strike thrown by Jonathan Fernandez. He's smooth as silk at the line.
This anchor match, the number 6
is a very good one.
Could go right down to the wire here. Big shot for Dylan Chesterman,
who sends it and get it up. We'll have a spare conversion forthcoming, and that match is now really very close, and it looks like a slight edge as a result of Jonathan Fernandez.
If he converts
the strikes up.
If Chesterman converts the spare, it'll be a 2-pin lead for Brother Martin.
Correct.
Fernandez going into the 9th frame there. And that's a match that is swung, and right now I think we're looking at as it stands at the moment. Brother Martin winning 4 of the 6 individual matches.
Here's a big open frame forthcoming. It would appear for the aforementioned number 2 bowler Teddy Johansson for Shaw, and that's really going to open the door for Beecher, who came in trailing into that frame by a fairly significant margin. Now he's going to be down single digits going to the 9th frame, unless we get an unlikely conversion. There's no angle to make this spare. Swings it, and he'll get another chop. So that's going to hurt.
4, 6, 7, 9, 10.
Right through the bevel. So he's looking at another open frame. He'll win his match, but his final score being eaten into here by consecutive opens unless he does something sensational here. And almost brought the pins across.
Almost made something crazy.
Exactly.
With that. Not the way you draw it up.
But he's at 214 in the 9th frame now. There's a beautiful shot.
He'll need 4 pins in the 10th for a shutout. He's the highest that Kyle Schneider can finish with is 217, and Chesterman on the open has 214 in the 9th.
It was a tough one to take there. A nice shot.
That's a bad break. A bad break for a left-hander.
Yeah, it's a 6-8 split on a pretty good shot delivered there. That's one that smarts for Chad Knackery. And Shaw starting to struggle here in the latter stages of this game. While Brother Martin continues to put the pressure on. And that time, a little smile from Jonathan Fernandez. He thought he'd sent it too far. But again, when you stay behind the ball, you have a chance to get some false roll on the back end, and he got it there. And he's got a 4-bagger in great shape to win his match now, as he's rallied to do so. And there's a good spare conversion. That's a tough spare converted by Dylan Chesterman to keep himself at least in the match, hoping for something big to happen in the 10th frame.
Could strike out for 213. It would take a mark and 16 pins of fill for Fernandez to shut him out.
Beecher slaps the 10-pin. So there's a trip-out strike and a triple as a result for Shaw on the 4 spot for Matthew Collins. He'll take that. Here's a big shot here for Shaw, trying to win this match, and nice strike thrown by Teddy Johansson. It was important for them.
Yeah, we're in the 9th frame on the left side. The bowlers on the 43 and 44 now into their 10th frame.
So Johansson for Shaw is up right now, and Cadence Chesterman is up. So they're up in 2 matches. Brother Martin's up in 4. But still some matches to be decided here. There's a swishing 7-pin that goes.
That'll help. That'll help with the margin and help with the count. But it's a shutout at this point for Max Ertling. He has wrapped up the match.
Correct. He's won the match. But this is a really nice game and finish for Matthew Collins as well, who's going to be in the 2-0s. And a nice spare here for Ertling, who's going to take care of business.
Strike in the fill ball here for 226. While Collins looking to...
He wins that match for the Crusaders. And getting back on track there with a really nice stroke was Chesterman, but does not carry a solid 10-pin. That's the danger of keeping it in the oil in the center of the lane. Mm-hmm. Don't really get that punch at the end.
Right, didn't get the angle into the pocket that you want there. And this is a big conversion right here. After starting out with the front 7, get yourself a spare and a chance to get a good shot on a fill ball, and you can get a good feeling going into the second game.
Kyle Schneider with a nice strike and nice spare there. That's what you want to see. Uses a different ball, hard shell, and you can see it doesn't move at all once he sets it down at his target angle. If he's going at the pin when he lets it go, he's going to make it because that ball's not going to hook. Nice stroke by Beecher, but a solid 10-pin.
This game much in the balance right now. Number 2 on the...
Beecher must convert here. based on pin count. He has to convert and force a mark by Johansson.
Knackery won in the number 1 position for Brother Martin, 164 to 148 for Hepting. So give Brother Martin a second point in this match. 3 of the 6 individual matches
there in the 2 spot. So the 2 spot and the 6 spot are the matches to watch at this point.
Chesterman over on lane 44 with a 4-count split. Not pretty at all. The 3 a little bit to try to cut that margin.
So a big 4, but a good time for that for the 5-hole bowler Kyle Schneider. And a nice strike again. So Johansson is the bowler that really stepped up his game here, Lenny. We talked about that early on. 158 average bowler is going to shoot in the 190s. But looking at the roll he generates, this is a young man that has upside, the ability to really shoot higher than that.
He's improved his game already this year. He was a 148 average bowler in the season last year. He's averaging 158 through the first 6 games of this year. The average is going to go up with a game. He's going to try to convert this spare for a 188.
Yeah, not 190, 188. Still well above his average, but there he left a solid 4-pin. Good shot.
And over on the right side, Brother Martin is going to win the anchor position as Dylan Chesterman finished with a 190. Jonathan Fernandez can make this to have an opportunity to finish in the 2 teens. Will convert the 10-pin. He'll have a chance to finish with a strike and 217.
People that don't watch bowling, if you're smaller in stature, shorter, the advantage is you won't bounce the ball and setting it down. You'll be able to release it and get it down nicely and get the ball into a roll a little bit earlier. If you're taller, though, you have an advantage in particular if you're a power player in that you can reach out and get the ball down the lane before it snaps. 2-13 game by Jonathan Fernandez, matching his teammate Kyle Schneider. And for Brother Martin in the 3 spot, Brandon Oquan with a 190 game. So this is going to be a solid victory for Brother Martin in game 1.
1168 team score for Brother Martin. They will win this 6-2, it appears now.
Yep. And at least in the 3 spot for Shaw, Dylan DeRoche able to close fast to at least get some pins after struggling early in the match. He's at a 175 average. He's going to bowl like 143 here if he spares. So they're going to need him to step up some. My good friend Greg Rando, the principal of Brother Martin, offering to help. So a 142 game is the final score for DeRoche.
And that'll be a team total for Shaw of 1104. So this will be indeed a 6-2 Brother Martin victory. They will have a 64-pin edge in total as we head to game 2.
Correct. So after 1 game, it's Brother Martin on top of Archbishop Shaw by a margin of 6-2. And we'll return with our second game of the match in just a moment here at SportsNola.com. Ken Trahan, Lenny Van Gilder. We're set to go with game 2 between Brother Archbishop Shaw, the Crusaders. Victorious in game 1 by a 6-2 margin. Shaw will go with the same lineup with which it bowled the first game. Brother Martin has made changes here for game 2. It will be Brandon Oquan in the 1 spot, Max Ertling in the 2 spot. Will Ertling steps in, the freshman in the 3 spot. Freshman Cody Schaefer in the 4 spot. Kyle Schneider is in the 5 spot. And Jonathan Fernandez will bowl in the 6 spot. The second game is underway as we have a couple of strikes thrown by Shaw right away by Hepting and Collins to get things started. We'll set the new bowlers for you as we advance. Cody Schaefer with a 4-pin for Brother Martin, a very good young freshman, averaging 207 early in the season, and a good start in game 2 for Brother Martin for their 1-hole and a spare by Cadence Chesterman to have the high score overall in game 1 at 234 for the Eagles. First open frame there on a washout recorded, and then a nice powerful strike delivered for Brother Martin in the 5 spot by Kyle Schneider, who bowled 213 in game 1. And we have our first gutter ball thrown here. You don't see that very often. Happens here, and no one feels worse than the young man who delivered it. He'll try to come back. He can still maintain his composure and spare this up. When you throw a gutter ball and you're a good player, you have a 40 to 50% chance to throw a spare. You just have to calm down, relax, and throw your spare ball, as we'll see right here. It wouldn't surprise me if he does. And he left the 10-pin, so it's a 9-out after throwing a gutter ball. And good effort, though, as he made a good second shot. That won't happen again. So an open frame there for the Crusaders. And a nice spare conversion, making the split by Dylan DeRoche. Remember, he struggled early in game 1. He came on late, so maybe he carries some momentum over here. There's a spare you can't miss, a 4-pin, which is going to set back the Eagles a little bit, as can't have your anchor man in particular miss a 4-pin, which Chesterman did, and a spare for the Brother Martin Crusaders. So we've set the tone for you for the changes. We've shown you the new bowlers for the Crusaders here in game 2 as we're through one frame of this match. And now we'll get a look once again at some of the different players. There's a very strange leave on lane 41. You don't see that very often. The 7-8 split on a light pocket hit.
It's very unusual.
And almost a spare conversion. Yeah, you don't see that very often. Very strange.
3-9-10 on lane 42.
And a nice pitch here for the strike for Shaw by their 4-hole bowler, Matthew Collins. And here's Cody Schaefer, the talented freshman. And he got tapped in the first frame. He comes through very well here. Now, truth be told, been around him, and he's been in my house quite a bit throughout his young life, so I know him very well. He can bowl, and he's from a bowling family that got him involved in the sport at a young age, but he liked it. If he didn't like it, he wouldn't be doing it. But his parents, Craig and Pam Schaefer, got him involved young, and he's taken to it very well.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Yeah, my son is 10. He's starting to bowl a little bit and enjoys it. It's like any other sport. You have some success at it, and you're going to stick with it. And obviously, when you've got the bloodlines as well, that doesn't hurt either.
Tap 4-pin here on a nice stroke. Schneider's been very solid for Brother Martin. Solid at the line, good release, makes for consistency, and he certainly is that type of guy. Now the 10-pin on the delivery by Chesterman. Spare up for the Eagles by the young man that bowled well in the first game for them in the 2-hole, Johansson. And nice washout conversion for the Crusaders in the 2 spot on lane 41. Executed nicely there by Max Ertling. And there's your love tap. That's what we call that, when 10-pin stands initially and the 6 kicks it out late. And now we have a missed 10-pin by Chesterman. So 2 missed spares by Chesterman. A 4-pin and a 10-pin, and that'll really send it back, especially against this young man, because Jonathan Fernandez, very consistent. He's going to fill the boxes, Lenny.
Yeah, just like that, it's a 22-pin lead in the anchor position. So not necessarily the way you want to start, but there's a long way to go still. A lot of chance to make up some ground.
A lot of people interested in the way principals voted in the LHSA for the split. The votes have been posted now, and you can go to split as a spare converted by Cody Schaefer for the Crusaders. And a strike recorded for Brother Martin in the 2 spot by Max Ertling, who was their high scorer in game 1. He shot
a little bit different environment, and sometimes that can cause an adjustment that you need to make.
Now, bowling on 43 and 44, all 3 young men bowling for Brother Martin on their higher average pair. They are what you call strokers, Lenny. All 3 of them are not guys that belly the ball or try to rev it or loft it down the lane, but they're strokers like this. That's a stroker. Up the boards, hit your spot, get the result. Beautifully done. And that's true of all 3 of these young men on lanes 43 and 44 for Brother Martin. Cody Schaefer, Kyle Schneider, and Jonathan Fernandez. There's a nice strike by Chesterman, who had the big first game at 234. He's off to a good start again.
Spare double here to get things started. He's got an early 10-pin lead in his position in match number 5.
That's a stroker right there as well. And Fernandez always going to be around the pocket, keeping everything in line. Simple game, and when you have a simple game, you have less chance for error.
That's it. You take some of you take some of the high risk, if you will, out of it, and there's something to be said for that.
And getting the carry this time is Dylan Chesterman, so you didn't have to stare at a corner pin. He'd been tapped his first 2 shots, but carries here nicely, and a nice spare conversion once more by Jonathan Fernandez for Brother Martin. So the Crusaders with an edge early on here with frame and set these matches for you at that stage.
We can update some of the other matches.
Yes.
We told you earlier, 7 matches going on at one time here, which is one of the great things about coming out and watching high school bowling on Mondays and Thursday afternoons, particularly here at Bullmore AMF. On the boys' side, Chalmette won game 1 over Archbishop Rummel, 6-2. Also on the boys' side, Jesuit was a 6-2 winner over Bonneville, and Holy Cross was a 7-1 winner over St. Augustine. On the girls' side, Cabrini was an 8-0 winner over Bonneville. There were a couple of games just finishing up. Game 1, we'll catch up on those later.
Yep. Cabrini, a good side last year, along with Academy of Our Lady. On the girls' side, Chalmette off to a good start this year as well on the girls' side. Another missed corner pin here. So those add up, as we mentioned before, as Collins unable to convert. And meanwhile, a corner pin shot from his opponent, Max Ertling. And there is the difference. That's of course Cody Schaefer, I should say. So Schaefer converts to 10 pin. He's been in the pocket all 4 times. Nicely done by Cody. And that gives him a lead in the number 1 spot. Nice strike thrown here by Chesterman once more. So Cadence continues. And anytime he can get the ball wide initially, it's going to be good for him. He's going to have a lot of finish on the back end with that 2-hand delivery.
Yeah, he's generating some power and using, using kind of the sideboard there to swing it wide and, generate that power that he needs. And a nice comeback there as
Schneider stays right with him.
Yeah, staying with him. It's still a 10-pin match, but clearly the best of the 6 matches thus far is the one between Kyle Schneider and Cadence Chesterman.
And another good look at Fernandez in the pocket every time, and he is again, and he'll carry the swishing 4-pin. So he establishes a solid lead in his match, and we'll set these matches for you as we get finished with the 4th frame here momentarily. First of all, on the second pit, 43-44. Thus far, you've got Brother Martin up in 2 matches and Shaw up in 1, and we'll set the other pit for you in a moment. A nice spare by Dylan Chesterman here. Solid 10-pin left by Teddy Johansson for Shaw. He goes to get another ball from the other pit to shoot it. How about that? And it didn't work. Went and borrowed it from the other pit to try to shoot it. A much harder shell. It's not going to hook, but it's really basically where you put it down.
All right, 2 opens there in the number 2 spot. That's a tight match.
Version here, the answer is no. Never gave that much of a chance, so an open frame there will get a lot of confidence heading the way of Will Ertling as a result of that open frame. So a 3-3 match after 4 frames as we get a conversion by Schaefer for Brother Martin in the 4 spot. And a little bit wide on his shot to start the next frame for Shaw by their number 1 hole bowler, and that is Chris Hepting. And a nice job to double up here for Brother Martin in the one spot. And that will establish a solid lead in that particular match. And then a miss as well will give him an even bigger lead. So that is Brandon Oquan on top for Brother Martin in the fifth frame by a nice margin.
Yeah, this second game, in my mind, is always, it can be the most pivotal of the match, because this can kind of dictate the terms of how the rest of the match is going to play out. Because again, unlike other sports, with the exception of maybe tennis, you need a certain number of points to win. Brother Martin has the 6-2 edge after one. If you repeat that again and you can win 4 out of 6 individual matches and win total pins, now you're taking a 12-4 lead into game 3, and all you need is 14 at that point. So it's, even if you can have a comfortable lead in total pins, and basically the match can be over. As we mentioned, Brother Martin's first 2 matches, they've won them 27-0 and 26-1, but the important thing to remember there is the match was over after game 2.
Door was open just now for Caden Chesterman to make up some pins and build on his lead, but he wasn't able to convert a spare after a split was thrown by Schneider. So he maintains a 10-pin lead, and a slap-out 10 here by Dylan Chesterman. Trying to stay in the match here with a really solid player in Fernandez, who's not going to let him breathe as he doubles.
That's now a 22-pin lead in the anchor position for Jonathan Fernandez.
And a strike thrown in the 3 spot for Archbishop Shaw here by Dylan DeRoche, who maintains the lead in his match over Brandon Oquan. As we head to the 6th frame, we're at the halfway mark of this one in game 2, and swishing 10-pin, fortunately not the 7-10. And a wall strike here for Shaw on the 1 spot, thrown by Chris Hepting. 4-pin by Schaefer. Been around the pocket consistently, and a nice strike here. We have a triple for Brother Martin. On lane 41. Well done by Brandon Oquan.
Yeah, in the leadoff spot there, he's kind of turned that match around. It was tight to the wrong side, and he's throwing 3 consecutive strikes now and has himself a commanding lead.
And now a missed spare by Shaw and Matthew Collins. And now Schaefer has a chance to build on that lead. Anytime you can get a lead of up over 20 pins, you're in pretty good shape, and he does make it. So no problem there.
If you keep filling boxes, you're really putting the pressure on the other team. You can make up, you start stringing together strikes, you can make up 10 pins with every strike, but it's, when you've only got 4 frames left, as now both halves of this match are into the 6th frame, doesn't leave you a lot of time to get something done.
Well, we mentioned the first game, which has been the separator thus far as the spare shooting, which has been considerably better for Brother Martin thus far. And just like that, a nice spare thrown for Archbishop Shaw by Johansson. And another really good shot here by Schneider as he comes back from the open frame and puts some pressure on his opponent to make the spare here, which Chesterman does. He didn't make it the way it was drawn up, but he made it nonetheless. And a strike on a Brooklyn here, which is a big shot for Shaw because that's a double, and that gives an extra 10 pins for the lead to their 3rd hole bowler in Dylan DeRoche. That was an important strike for him.
He'd given up the edge there a little bit, but then got it back.
And a nice strike here for Dylan Chesterman. He's capable of putting some together, so he's not out of that match yet.
He shot
in the 5 spot.
Yeah, he shot 279 in the match on Thursday against St. Paul's. Had the front 8, and
finds himself down by 20 right now, but with a double working, he's in the match.
Yeah, he can put together a couple more, and he's right back in it. Exactly.
When you scan things and you look at some of the others involved here, I can't help but mention the somewhat seasoned veteran coaching Archbishop Rummel.
Yeah, I know that guy.
You know the guy?
I know the guy.
Okay. Thought you might.
He has taken to teaching a little bit in the last couple of years, and this opportunity presented itself. And, of course, I speak of the guy who has the same last name as me, JL, who also happens to contribute bowling stories to our website at sportsnola.com. Please be sure to read his story. In fact, he's got something up about prep bowling today.
There you go. We just saw maybe the best shot all day long that didn't result in a strike as Cody Schaefer just stoned an 8-pin. I mean, as perfect a shot as you'll see. And when that happens, typically it's a bad rack.
It can be.
Yeah.
It can be.
When you leave a 9-pin as a right-hander, it's just ball finishing, perhaps a little bit too hard in the pocket. When you leave an 8 like that, flush, it's typically a bad rack.
Well, he's still got a 21-pin lead here. Certainly a bad break, but you got to forget it. You get the bad breaks and just come right back. It's a big shot right here.
There's a ditch ball. That really hurts there because he was involved in a close match, and Johansson throws one in the ditch, and that really sets him back. And meanwhile, Dylan Chesterman, who was trying to get back in the match against a very tough Jonathan Fernandez, throws a split. So things starting to get a little bit shaky for Shaw here as we reach the 7th frame of this second game.
There's a big shot by Schneider. Trips the 9 off with the messenger, and that is now a tie match. So this is that's one to watch here as we head down the stretch, is at number 5 position.
Really good spare conversion here by Dylan Chesterman.
Needed that one.
It's as good as it gets to keep himself in touch against this young man who will not give him any ground to work with. Well done by Jonathan Fernandez, who again he just fills the pocket every frame, and it's always about carry. But if you don't carry, you're still going to leave single pin spares, and he's very accurate. As we get a strike thrown for Shaw on lane 41 by their 1-hole bowler, Chris Hepting. Or excuse me, that was their 3rd-hole bowler, DeRoche, who gets a triple, which is a big strike for him. He's in somewhat of control in his match. And a few strikes in succession here by Shaw. Hepting does strike, and then on the other pair we get a strike for Collins, which gives him a double and keeps him in the match with Schaefer.
Wow, Brandon Oakland, a stone 9-pin on a 4-bagger, no less. It turned 4 consecutive strikes after a tough start to take command of the match, and then that's a bad break right there. But he's still in very good shape in this match. If he can convert this, he'll have 145 in the 7th, a spare up in the 8th, and a 54-pin lead with 2 frames to go.
Nice pitch there to get back on track after the gutter ball in the previous frame. You like to see that come back, and that's what you had from Johansson, and a nice spare here. So tough 9-pin to leave, but a good job of converting by Brandon Oakwan. So as we about to finish the 8th frame, the matches to watch here. The 5 spot is a good match for sure to keep an eye on in this.
And Schneider is up with a chance to take the lead right here.
Yeah, the 4 spot and the 5 spots are the 2 matches at this point. This is a big shot for Schneider. For the lead. Flush. Beautifully done. So Brother Martin now starting to take a semblance of control here in game 2. Shaw must throw some strikes now. He heard me. Jonathan Fernandez. And now, as we mentioned, the 2 matches to watch. We'll watch them right now as we head to the 9th frame in the 4 and 5 spots. And an unfortunate split thrown after an open frame by the 3rd spot bowler for Shaw. DeRoche, it was an opportunity for Brother Martin, but unfortunately a split thrown by their 3rd-hole bowler, Erling.
Will Erling had a chance to really get back.
This is a huge shot for Shaw on the 4 spot right here. Matthew Collins. And he carried. That is a huge shot. Collins now by 1 pin in the match over this young man, Schaefer. And he leaves a stone 10-pin. Schaefer's bowled a really solid match. Yep. Just hasn't been able to carry, Lenny.
You see the scoreboard up there. All we see is nothing but spares right now, and it's not for lack of quality shots. He just hasn't gotten the carry.
Solid 10-pin on 42. And solid strike thrown here by Hepting. And that's important for total pins. He might not win the match, but he's, again, when you double up late, you make up some pins. Keep your team in touch. It's the idea. Schaefer misses the spare. That's a big miss because now that puts the Shaw 4 spot in a very good position. Matthew Collins now has himself a 13-pin lead with 1 frame remaining.
And interestingly, he's gained that lead while Cadence Chesterman in the number 5 position has seen his lead slip away, thanks in large part to the 3 consecutive strikes by Kyle Schneider. There's a big
double thrown here in the 2 spot by Teddy Johansson. He's still got a shot there. Nice answer for Brother Martin there. Number 2 spot by Max Erling. And that suddenly is a match to keep an eye on. Not over yet because of a double thrown. Still down 21, but with the strikes up, there's an opportunity. Chesterman. Bang. So that's a big strike for him, Lenny.
At worst, he will be down 8 pins, but on a strike going into the 10th frame. He's in control of his destiny. He gets up and strikes out in the 10th. He will win the match.
Big spare here. And nicely done. So Schneider converts, keeps himself on top of his match by 8.
I got away from...
Yeah, he lost that one.
Chesterman.
Lost that one at the release, so Dylan Chesterman tugs it badly and unable to strike and put any pressure on his opponent here. Jonathan Fernandez, good release here, and slaps out the 10. So Fernandez well on his way to another victory for Brother Martin in that anchor spot. Big split thrown for Brother Martin. Should have enough room to still win that match, obviously, but again will cost him total pins. Hepting shoots 147 for Shaw after bowling 148 in his first game.
Came in with a 148 average. That's what you call consistency.
That's consistent. And a solid 198 game. That's in the one spot. You get a 198, a 188 in your one spot, 188 in your one spot. That's pretty solid. Good stuff for for Brandon Oakway.
And it's below his average. That's the thing. He came in averaging 192. That just shows you the depth of this Martin lineup.
Right. There's a bad tug, but a good 8 count to save him. But he needed a strike there to really have a shot in the match.
That's a chance to put a couple together there in the 10th frame. Could have conceivably won the game.
So this is going to be a win for Brother Martin in the 2 spot. Nice shot, solid 10-pin. Didn't get the carry, but Ertling's going to win that match. And there's a very good pitch by Schaefer to keep himself at least in this match. He'll need to throw another one to put pressure on, but really it's in the hands now of Matthew Collins. I can't see that. R.J. Beecher is 1. Brandon is 2. Wait. Brenton. Brandon 3.
And then the last 3 are the same.
Last 3 are the same. Schaefer, Schneider, Fernandez. Ken Trahan along with Lenny Van Gilder. Game 3 set to start. Brother Martin in control. 12-4 over Shaw underway with Game 3. Takes a big effort from Shaw. Collins picks up where he left off last game with a solid strike for the Shaw Eagles coming off of a 2-23 game last game. So a good start for Matthew Collins here in Game 3. Good look at Cody Schaefer. He's through the bevel. So 5 count. And Collins takes the early lead in that match. And a good shot here by Cadence Chesterman. And Cadence is coming off of a 192. Missed that 10-pin in the 10th, and that really hurt after bowling a beautiful 234 game in Game 1. Beecher spares up his 10-pin. Now Schaefer will go for the count here. Looking for the 8 count. He gets that. It's basically what you need in that circumstance. And now Dylan Chesterman with a 6-pin. And a nice strike thrown here by a young man that's shown the ability to strike today in Teddy Johansson for the Shaw Eagles. 188 his first game, down to 149 in the second game. Nice pitch here, but we've seen that from Kyle Schneider quite a bit for Brother Martin. A little bit off balance on that delivery, but good result as it squares up the 1-3 pocket, and a strike thrown by Dylan DeRoche for the Eagles. This time, a little tug by Jonathan Fernandez leaves him a tough spear, the 3-6-10. Many play for Beecher, and he carries. A little bit of a delay on 41 as we get a re-rack and re-spot of a pin as we're nearing the completion of match one. We have a ball return we're waiting on 43, and we had to sweep the rack and start over again on 41, which we do because of a we certainly hope that you are enjoying it. We certainly are. Game 3 ready to roll. Shaw with the same lineup. Hepting, Johansson, DeRoche, Collins, Cadence Chesterman, and Dylan Chesterman. Brother Martin will go with R.J. Beecher in the 1 spot. Brenton Dupuy in the 2 spot. Brandon Oquan in the 3-hole. Cody Schaefer bowls that hook. It will go cross lane for this. Kill the shot, dead in the ball. Some who are straighter will play it a little bit further right. We'll see how Fernandez approaches it. A lot of 10 pins here in the first frame of Game 3.
and ended up winning that match as a result. And then, off to a good start here with a 20-pin lead over Cody Schaefer.
Fernandez happy because he not only struck, but he didn't have to look at the 2-7 again. Chesterman with a 4-pin. Good shot, but that stops the 3-bagger. Nothing wrong with that, though. Didn't swing it as wide as he had previous shots, but that one was more in line.
Yeah, a little bit tighter angle, but he's using the lane properly. He's allowing himself. He gets it. He's at a point in the lane where if he does miss a little the line,
and able to convert after the strike was thrown by Jonathan Fernandez for Brother Martin, who's got the lead once again on Dylan Chesterman, who will bowl now. So we scan the pairings thus far, and Brother Martin's ahead in 2 matches, even in the other on the first pair. And on the second pair, Shaw is ahead in 2 matches and down in 1.
Seems like every time we reset things about 4 frames in, it's about a 3-3 proposition. It just goes to show you it's about how you finish.
It certainly is. And again, it's been about filling boxes for Brother Martin. That's why they're better today, is the ability to fill boxes. Tough leave there on a light hit. A 4-5, and that's a very difficult spare to make. Doesn't look hard to the naked eye, but it's very hard. You've got to fit the ball squarely between those 2 pins if you want to make it.
All right, not much room for error.
And unable to do so. So Brother Martin now in control of those matches on the 41 and 42 pairs, but here's a split thrown by Petrie. Got a little bit soft with that one, Lenny, after throwing a nice 3-bagger and leaving a 10-pin in the first. He got soft. Collins carries a Brooklyn, so he's got it going for him.
And it's got to be a credit to Beecher. Bowl game 1, sat out game 2, back in game 3. Now, off to our left are 6 practice lanes that when you're not in competition, you can keep loose. This
time Schaefer carries. He can get a break. He'll be all right. Mm-hmm. He's playing in on the lane. Ball's finishing nicely for him. It's a matter of carrying. And a little bit high. Did not give that one the room, did Chesterman. He'll have a tough spare to convert. Now, I mentioned earlier when we watched Jonathan Fernandez shoot the 3-6-10, I said, watch, he's going to stand to the right and shoot straight at this, and he did. Now watch the difference here, because my bet is that Chesterman is going to stand left on the lane. Why? Because he's a cranker. He turns the ball.
Right.
And sure enough, look where he's positioned. Far left, trying to play the hook. He's going to try to bring this back, which he does, but, he got the slap out on the 10-pin.
Yeah, and in a perfect world on that, you want to hit between the 3 and the 6 and let either the ball deflect or the pin deflect into the 10-pin. And there, he hit to the left side of the
job. But the Crusaders up in 4 right now and well on their way to remaining unbeaten. It's going to be hard-pressed for anybody to beat them here this year in what we call league play in the New Orleans region.
Right. This will be win number 20 in a row dating back to last season.
Here's Collins, who's been the man for Shaw. He is again. He's doubled again.
The last time they lost the match was in the playoffs in 2014.
When they got knocked out.
We mentioned both of these teams only lost one senior from a year ago. So some experience knowing what it takes to get through the postseason run. Brother Martin.
Schaefer finally carries a double. He's been there most of the day, but was unable to carry, but he does now. He's keeping himself in that match down 20, but he can strike. There's a nice pitch. Now Chesterman got deeper, and he got the ball wider. You have to create space.
Sure, and you've had 2 shots in a row where he had left the 4-pin, so he was a little tight in the pocket, and a 3-6-10 where he went directly through the nose of the head pin. So at that point, you probably do want to make a move.
Nice shot here, but unable to carry. Looking for the triple there was not Fernandez, but Schneider. Good shot by Schneider, unable to get the triple though. And this is high for Dylan Chesterman. Looking for the 4-pin cover here, right on line. Good shot. And another 4-pin conversion forthcoming. No problem. And again, that's what Brother Martin's done well, Lenny. They've shot spares. First, you don't leave the most difficult spares, and secondly, you make sure you convert those single-pin spares.
No doubt. That's the easiest way to make sure you can convert is to leave yourself easy makes. Don't leave those. Don't leave the double wood and the multi-pin conversions. Of course, the splits.
Good shot by Oquan, stoned the 10-pin. Really good pitch, though. And there's another stone 10-pin by Beecher. So, as a coach, you look at that and you're like, wow, I don't want to see that. Side by side, two outstanding shots and solid 10-pins, which means you threw the ball right where you wanted to and right how you wanted to. And unable to convert here. This one rides a little bit high, but just the 4-pin, and that's Jonathan Fernandez's game. Keep everything in line. Stay in the 1-3 pocket. Strike or leave 1-pin spares.
He's been solid thus far this year. He's been solid again today. 213, 228. He's working at a 209 pace here early on in this game. And
Beecher unable to convert his 10-pin. And an easy conversion for Fernandez. He's through 6 in good shape in his match. Well ahead. 35-pin bulge. Here's Schaefer looking for a triple. And he got that one a little bit in too early. Yep. Flipped it. Wasn't able to get it down the lane far enough. It's not just where you throw it, it's hand position as well. Collins tugs this one but gets away with a 9 count, so he's still in good shape. Up 21 pins in his match over Schaefer. Who has to convert here and does so. Again, you're talking about Schaefer, just a freshman. Quite a future he has. Ditto for Will Erling, for Brother Martin.
Yeah, they'll be the future of this team. Bruce Himbert's got 5 seniors out of his top 9 here. Mackery, Beecher, Oquan, Max Ertling, and Schneider, all seniors.
The good news is he's got these 2 freshmen, and he's got Jonathan Fernandez, his best bowler, as a sophomore.
Right. Yeah, the three of your 4 high averages, at least in this early point of the season,
Poor guy.
back with you or back with you for 2 more years at least.
Yeah, what a shame for Himbert.
But you look at Shaw's lineup. Only Chris Hepting is a senior.
Correct.
The rest of this team is all back again next year.
Nice pitch here for a double by Chesterman. And then a strike in the
big time
3 spot for Brother Martin. Not a strike, but a conversion on a beautiful
3, 6, 7, 10 pickup out of the 3 spot there by Brandon Oquan.
And again, unable to convert the 10-pin. That's been part of the problem for Shaw this afternoon. Dylan Chesterman, 10-pin. Got behind the 10-pin a little bit there. 6-pin just laid in the channel. So about to finish the 7th frame here. And Brother Martin ahead in all 3 matches in the first pair. And in the second pair, it's Shaw leading in 2 matches. So it's 4-2 Brother Martin right now, which ironically was the margin in the first 2 games.
Right, and Brother Martin in command in total pins. So if this holds the way it is, this would end up a 21-6 match. And that's the only thing about bowling is this, about the scoring system. You see 21-6, oh, Brother Martin. You don't see a lot of 14-13 matches, I guess is what I'm saying.
Teddy Johansson making a nice run for Shaw. He throws a triple on the low pair, so he's put himself in good position, right squarely in his match, only down by 4 pins in the 2 spot against the 2-spot bowler for Brother Martin, Brenton Dupuis, bowled well in his first game.
Yeah, big strike there to get the lead back to 14.
That's a huge strike for him to increase the edge, and a missed spare for Shaw. And a missed spare for Brother Martin. So Collins is in good shape for Shaw again to win like he did last game over Schaefer. And the 10-pin goes this time for Dylan Chesterman. Nice shot. Beautiful shot. That's as good a shot as we've seen right there. Just well done for Brother Martin. Great release. And Brandon Oquan gets the perfect result. It's a good experience for the Eagles regardless. Denise Vidro's team will go on from this, and they will be successful. As mentioned previously, they very well be the second best team in this league.
Yeah, and they will be the favorites to win probably the rest of their matches, at least in the New Orleans area.
Jesuit is a team to watch, too. They've got the ability to compete.
They do, but Shaw bowled them already and beat them handily.
Yep.
Although 20-7, it was probably it was a solid win, but it was probably again a little bit closer than that, but still a solid win nonetheless.
We probably need to keep an eye on Chalmette as well.
It's a good team, and look, last year it was that Shaw-Chalmette match was...
Look at this, almost a 7-9. He's able to get the 9 out and smiles about it.
The Shaw-Chalmette match we saw in the playoffs last year was about as good a match as we saw all year.
This is a big shot here. And leaving the 7-pin. That was an important shot.
That was strange. 7-pin on a Brooklyn, no less.
Strange.
But the deflection.
Yeah, he needed that. Down by Brother Martin in good shape. They filled the box there as well. So Brother Martin in good shape to win that match. Especially since you have a miss there. So that's pretty much going to put that match away. And that's been the difference. Brother Martin's dominated the first pit, Lenny.
Yeah, exactly. And that's where they're going to win 90% of their matches. I mean, certainly you're going to face teams that are going to be good enough to compete with you in the 6 spot, in the 5 spot, maybe in the 4 spot, but they are going to wear you down with depth. Like we said earlier, they're 1, 2, and 3 bowlers. No matter what lineup they put out there, is going to be good enough to face just about every other team's 4, 5, and 6.
Another nice conversion by Collins. Boy, he's been maybe the most impressive bowler for Shaw. Because not only has he struck, but he's been able to make a lot of spares. And that's why he's shooting the games he's shooting. He's on pace for a 216 this game, coming off of a very good game at 223 last game. Remember, he shot 202 the first game.
Solid effort out of the 4 and 5 spots between Collins and Caden Chesterman. Is going after 4 in a row here, but
right through the nose now. Watch this. That's a huge count loss, and it will be an open frame in all likelihood. So all of a sudden, that match becomes in play. Looked like Chesterman was in good shape to win that match. Now
it was on the verge of a closeout.
Now sweat it out.
Now even if he gets the 3 on the right here, as you look at it, that is the 3, 4, 6, 7, 10. If he gets the 3 on the right, you're looking at 197 going into the 10th and an 11-pin lead. That's a wide open match.
Correct. Pins are important here, and he did what he needed to do.
Yeah.
And that's a missed spare. So 179 for Beecher in game 3. His match 217 to 192 over Johansson.
Improving a lot. He was a 168 average bowler a year ago in league play and started out this year at a 188 average. It comes out today in the one game he bowls with a 217. Late trip of the 9-pin there. A fortunate break for Brandon Oakwan as he will close out his match.
Matthew Collins with a 215 to win another match for Shaw. He bowls a beautiful set, 202, 223, 215. So outstanding effort as he finishes with a 640 series.
Cody Schaefer with a 167 as he cannot convert the split in the 10th frame.
And a double in the 10th frame here for Will Earling.
Yeah, look, these are not the scores that we've come to see from Brother Martin. Not an incredibly high-scoring match. But at the end of the day, the job is to
taking care of business.
Yeah, consistent effort by Brandon Oakland. Bowled all 3 games, 190, 188, 192, a 570 series.
Consistent.
Came in with a 192 average, so right on that.
Always like to know you're going to get a balanced, consistent effort, and you can count on a bowler like that to deliver. Trip to 4-pin for a 203 game. Kyle Schneider finishing with 203, so he bowls a nice set as well. 6-10 series. Set that one down nice, but boy, it really snapped on the back end. But that does clinch the match for him. Needed a 7 count to win the match, and he got 7. So just enough. So Shaw will win 2 matches here. Once again, it's going to be a 6-2 game.
Yep, and it'll end up
Nice shot here.
Brother Martin in command in total pins, so they will win
21-6.
Yep, it'll be a 21-6 final.
And he won by 1 pin as he missed everything. So 204 for Cadence Chesterman, who finished out with a good series himself here. 6:30 series. So Collins with a 6:40. Cadence Chesterman a 6:30 to lead the way for Shaw. And now a strike thrown for a double as Jonathan Fernandez continues his 61. And he's going to be wide, so he shoots 160. So Dylan Chesterman 160. Brother Martin wins this game 6-2, and they win the match in convincing fashion by a 21-6 margin here this afternoon to remain undefeated. And they've now won 20 consecutive matches. Lenny?
Impressive. You know, it's look, we said going in Brother Martin was the favorite, and that's based on averages and past performances. And, you know, they delivered here this afternoon. A very consistent effort. I'll show you, they both, the last game, 588 in the left-hand pit, 588 in the right-hand pit for an 1176. There are 3 games, 1168, 1140, 1176. That's consistent. That's solid. That will get it done.
Certainly will. So Brother Martin wins this game 6-2, win the match 21-6.
Bruce Himber quickly visiting with his team. We're going to try and get a quick visit with him before we go off here. But, you know, all in all, I hope, Kim, we were able to kind of capture the level of what high school bowling is all about in this area. You see some high quality competition, and none more so than what these guys are able to do.
No doubt. Just a solid, consistent effort here today by Brother Martin as they win this match 21-6 over Archbishop Shaw. The head coach of the Crusaders, Bruce Himbert, joining us now. Bruce, you're able to get a number of guys in there. You have the depth on your team. That was important for you. And your depth showed today when you inserted guys that were
across from you by 1 pin.
Nice shot. So struck out. Well done.
Up, and you've got a surprise waiting for you.
There we go.
I put the bowl team in today. Everybody deserved a bowl today, and we just got some bad breaks. We didn't carry well. We missed a lot of spares, and we're going to be practicing. I just told them before I came up that we'd be practicing spares the whole practice Wednesday. I hope they they're happy with it. But I mean, I guess I've put them on a pedestal. This team is pretty special. Last year's team was good. I think this team's better. I really do.
This match was not a lot about high scores.
No.
I mean, this was a grind type of match that you just needed to try to stay as clean as you could, and and take advantage of the opportunities that were presented you, and you did that quite a bit.
Exactly, and the kids for the most part made their spares. Okay, but when you look down, and we missed probably about 10 10s, a couple 7s. I know the corner pins are what we missed the most, but I mean, we got to watch that because that could catch us somewhere later on down the road. I mean, Shaw's got, I told these guys before we came out here, this team could beat us. If we don't watch out, they could beat us. And they kept us right there the whole time. They didn't let us get away from them.
Well, this match was clearly decided by your first pit, your 1 through 3 bowlers. It's your depth that separates you from the rest of these teams.
And if you look over the states, I've gotten a lot of the score sheets from the states, and it's going to do that the whole rest of the way. It's going to be our 1, 2, 3's got to win the matches for us. Our 4, 5, 6 is as good as anybody in the state, but our 1, 2, 3's got to win matches for us.
Speaking of 4, 5, 6, you look at the contributions you got from Jonathan Fernandez, consistent as can be, with a 659 set. Kyle Schneider with a 610 set. You have to be happy about that, and also you look at a guy like Brandon O'Quinn and your lower pair, and the consistency comes in averaging 192. He shoots 190, 188, 192. That's what you're looking for.
And the thing about Brandon is if we can ever get him to understand to trust. All it is trust with that boy. If he can trust, he's going to be a good bowler. Really will be. I won't have him next year, though. Unfortunately, he's a senior. I lose 5 seniors, but I've got a nice little nucleus behind it.
No doubt.
Cody Schaefer will be special.
Last but not least, 100 career wins. Congratulations on that.
Thank y'all. I appreciate it. It was one of those things that we wanted. We checked last year. Craig Schaefer wanted to know how many wins did I have. So we checked with school and got it, and when they showed it went to 97. I mean, 97 we won state championship. So they said, well, let's go ahead and see when we're going to win all of them. So we looked at it and ended up this game, which are right up real nice.
So before I really let you go, truly the last question. Can you find any equipment for these two old guys to try to help us cheat a little bit, get a little bit better?
We can do y'all easy. Come on. Anytime y'all want, we'll take care of you guys.
Even a left-hander, right?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Even better for a left-hander. Thank y'all, Lenny.
Thank you, Bruce. Appreciate it. Congratulations. That's Bruce Embert, head coach of the Brother Martin Crusaders, who win this match 21-6 over Archbishop Shaw. Final thought, Lenny?
Just a good afternoon for high school bowling in these parts. A terrific crowd out here. I think we had a lot more people watching online as well, getting a chance to see just what this atmosphere and what the sport of high school bowling is all about.
I guess. And, yeah, we really do look like. Who else was with us today?
Nat Collins on the
and Nat's over here. I'm looking all over the place.
Yeah, Nat's in front of us. He's in front of us, getting the best shots, kind of, getting hazard pay, working off the stepladder to get the high shot today for us.
Nat looks like Yao Ming up there. I mean, goodness gracious. Come on, man. He's way out there, but it's great to have Nat with us again. And we thank you for watching today. Go to sportsnola.com. Lenny, I have a story on today's bowling that you'll want to read about with all the teams and the results, so we hope you will. Until next time, for Lenny Van Gilder, I'm Ken Trahan. Thanks for joining us on behalf of First NBC Bank here at sportsnola.com.